Close that door.
$5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock, starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
The United Way of the Upper Ohio Valley is very proud of those that have jumped into action, helping the community through the restrictions in place due to COVID-19. All year long, we connect community-minded businesses and people to agencies serving the toughest needs. Now we have a Community Response and Recovery Fund to assist agencies in helping families in crisis due to this pandemic. 100% of your donations will stay local. You can donate at unitedwayuov.org/give.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
The Wheeling Area Chamber of Commerce and McKinley Architecture and Engineering urge everyone Support our local businesses. Keep dollars in our own economy. Protect our community character and well-being. Create more jobs at home. And the money spent here gets spent here over and over. Presented by the Wheeling Chamber of Commerce, supporting our local economy, and McKinley Architecture and Engineering. 40 years of delivering experience and innovation to the Wheeling area and beyond.
Now until sold out, get $10,000 off any new 2020 Cherokee. Only at Thomas Auto Centers during Jeep Adventure Days. Must be in stock, and it comes with a lifetime warranty. No tricks, no gimmicks. $10,000 off on any new 2020 Cherokee. Plus unheard of pricing on all new in-stock units. Only at Thomas Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Get the best deal. Thomas Auto Centers.
Ball Road, St. Clairsville.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
Ohio Valley Medical Center was shut down by California-based Electo, who laid off 1,200 employees in Ohio County, while costing thousands more their access to health care. Where was Senator Ryan Weld? He was working as a lawyer for the law firm that represents Electo. Delegate Randy Schwartzmiller stood up for you. He called for an investigation into Electo. Randy Schwartzmiller will always fight for you and your health care. He's one of us.
Paid for by friends of Randy Schwartzmiller.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday, partly to mostly sunny skies, daytime high near 78. Overnight low at 57 degrees, partly cloudy skies. You'll see mostly sunny conditions around for Thursday with highs in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, old friends.
Hey, what are you doing here? About to go on the air.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Wake up, fairy princesses, wake up!
Guess what day it is?
Get up before I get you up!
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
Woo-hoo!
This is Wednesday. She calls it over the hump day.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We ain't one at a time in here. They broadcast me out on the radio. We're mass communicating.
Let Wednesday begin.
Hit it!
Live and local in the Ohio Valley, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Hump day, and we are off and we are running on a Wednesday edition of the Watchdog Morning Show. Table of contents for the day today. COVID cases are inching up locally. Ohio County Health Department Administrator Howard Gamble dropping by to discuss the latest numbers with us. Our weekly conversations with candidates will be sponsored by the local Building Trades Council and features Erica Storch today, 3rd District Delegate from Ohio County. In the D.C. Digest, Trump calls on Barr to investigate Biden. Reports say Trump has a Chinese bank account. And the DOJ files an antitrust case against Google. Plus, controversy over a local man's sign, which some call racist. A well-known writer suspended from CNN for pleasure himself on a Zoom call. And there's a new Girl Scout cookie flavor this year. Got all of this and much more coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show. The legislative watchdogs are in at 9 o'clock today, as always, on a Wednesday to talk politics, getting closer to the election. I'm sure the team will have plenty to say about some of the upcoming races and so on. So it's a busy morning this morning, and I am glad you're here for the conversational ride over the next several hours. Looking for above average temperatures here in the upper Ohio Valley today. Daytime high should be up to around 75. Mainly clear skies this morning, although some pockets of fog. You might run into some fog as you're on your way into work, so be aware of that. And when you do hit the fog, it could be pretty thick and pretty dense. Other than that, we'll have clear skies. By afternoon, the sun will be out. It'll be a mixture of sun, clouds. Some light rain is possible this afternoon. As I said, daytime high of 75, currently 59 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 60 degrees here at my home studios, 60 degrees and clear at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. 7:13 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. If they keep stealing bits of our childhood. Things that are an important part of growing up, at least for me, probably for you, for many of our audience, not going to be available again. And that's something else, just ripping it right out. Well, they're not exactly ripping it out, but now you're going to pay for what you used to get free. You know what I'm talking about?
I do not, actually.
Wah, 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 wah. The Peanuts holiday specials.
Yeah.
Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Not going to be available on network television this year. It's a great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That's always a ton of fun to see Linus out in the pumpkin patch waiting for the great pumpkin to arrive. A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. The Charlie Brown Christmas is a real rite of the holidays in my mind. The Peanuts gang getting a real understanding of the meaning of Christmas. They're taking them all off of network TV. Now, I was 12 years old when they first started airing these things on network television. And they have aired this every year for the last 55 years, the Peanuts, Charlie Brown, holiday Christmas specials. Well, not just Christmas, but the holiday specials. And now, taking them away. Now, you can get them if you pay for Apple TV service, the Apple Plus service. Now, to be honest with you, I do. I have the Apple Plus service. Teddy will be able to watch these cartoons. But the Monroe family is, middle to upper middle class. We can afford that. There's an awful lot of folks who don't have these high-pay streaming services. Yes, we've got them all. Every single one is available. We've gotten every month when I look at the cost of these services, everything from CBS All Access to to Netflix to Amazon Prime Video to Hulu. We've got just added HBO Max and Apple Plus and Disney Plus. But I can afford that. Okay, I can afford it. I'm honest about that. A lot of people can't. Now, Biff, did you watch the Charlie Brown holiday special when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid.
Yeah. You don't watch them anymore? I watch them every year when they come on TV. I love to sit down and watch them, even before Teddy was around. I still love to watch them.
No, I don't know. Usually there's probably something going on or something else we're watching.
The holiday season is the one season I really, and I think it's by design, to be honest with you, I get very nostalgic. And I stop and I watch some of those cartoon shows of my youth. Not just the Peanut specials, but Rudolph and Frosty, and I'm trying to think there's at least one more. There are three of those classic Rankin Bass cartoons that have been on since the 60s as well. As far as I know, those are still going to be out there. But I make an absolute point. I look to see when Rudolph is coming on, the Rudolph cartoon, and I make sure that I watch it when it comes on network television. But this year, all the Peanut stuff, it's a great pumpkin Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown Christmas, will be exclusively streamed on Apple's subscription-based TV program. ABC has been the main platform for all of these specials for most of the time they've aired. CBS began airing the Charlie Brown specials. They let their rights to it lapse. Somebody back in that 60s needs to have been, probably was fired for that. You did what? You let them expire? And ABC picked them up at that point, and it's been an ABC offering ever since, but not anymore. Not anymore. Now it's only going to be on Apple Plus. Now, to be fair to the people at Apple, they're using it as a marketing tool. I don't want to suggest they're being kind to you, but it's a marketing tool. However, they will be making some of those specials available on a brief basis, even to non-subscribers, for a limited time. So, for example, It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown will be available on Apple TV, but you will not have to pay for it basically on Halloween, from October 30th to November 1st. So if you want to watch It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, basically on Halloween, it will be free. If you probably still have to download the Apple app, I would guess. Charlie Brown Thanksgiving debuts on the Apple platform November 18th and will stream for free the 25th through the 27th. It's on, basically, again, on Thanksgiving. You can actually watch that. And the Charlie Brown Christmas, sort of the granddaddy of them all, will have a free window from December 11th to the December 13th. So in each of those cases, you get essentially 3 days of free stuff. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay for it. Everything is pay anymore, Biffy, you know? I mean, I know we live in an avaricious age. We live in an age where money is all. I understand all that. But gee, many Christmas.
Can you give us a little bit of a break?
Exactly. I mean, can't we just have at Christmas time a chance to watch the Charlie Brown Christmas with our kids without having to pay for it? And again, I want to be fair. I want to be honest. I'll watch it anyways because we have the service. But I can afford it, and huge numbers of people can't. And all children should have a chance to see Charlie Brown, the holiday specials. Wah, wah, wah. I'm just getting too old. I'm getting old, and I'm getting crotchety in my old age. Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn. I'm becoming that kind of guy.
That's when you need to worry. When you're actually outside on the porch with a paper or something in hand, and you're shaking it, and you're yelling for kids to get off your lawn, then you start worrying.
Yeah, that's when you know, as you know, a couple years ago, I had some problems with my knees, and I was using a cane. And I found myself with the cane, sort of swinging the cane and saying, "Get out of my way! Get out of my way!" It's like, oh, wait, no. That's way too much an old man doing that. So, but figuratively speaking, I am becoming such an old and crotchety man anymore. But, all right, I understand I'm literally an old man, but I'm becoming figuratively crotchety as well. Bring Charlie Brown back. I think we should start a campaign. Bring Charlie back. Bring Charlie back. Make Charlie free. Make Charlie free. No, not going to work.
Worth a shot.
Money's more important. Yeah, let's be honest about it, Biff. We're never going to, you and I and the mass of America is just never going to be able to compete with corporate greed. Oh, we'll get. And Disney's a master of this, you know, to be able to take old-time things. Disney, long before there was streaming services, Disney kept the tight hold on their videos, you know, Cinderella or Snow White or the old classic videos. They only released them. Remember, back before there was streaming, they said there was in the vault, in the Disney vault. Cinderella will come out of the vault for 2 weeks on such and such a date. And we all would run to the store and buy them. We bought videotapes. Disney knew how to make that work. I guess Apple is following in their footsteps. Speaking of Christmas this year, my wife and I am a firm believer in real Christmas trees, you know, an actual, true, real Christmas tree, living tree, or once upon a time living till you chopped it down, Christmas tree in the house. However, a number of years ago, you all know, we went to an artificial tree, bought a pre-lit tree, and it's so much easier. And it looks nice. Back in the early days of pre-lit trees or artificial trees, they look like, you know, an aluminum stick with some green paper on them. But these days, the artificial trees look really good. However, over the last number of years, our artificial tree has begun to not deteriorate, but the lights aren't working. Last year, we had to actually string a couple of extra strings of lights. Yes, I'm lazy. And so I like the pre-lit things. So I think this year it's time for a new tree. Apparently this year Lowe's is going to be offering free Christmas tree delivery. Now, the story I have here in front of me doesn't tell me if they're just talking about artificial trees or if there's going to be real trees as well. But starting next week, so surely you're not buying an actual live Christmas tree now. Starting next week, you can order a tree from Lowe's and they will deliver it for free to your home. Okay. This day of COVID, I guess, that's something. Although I used to love when I was a kid and when my kids were kids, Biffy, did you ever go to any of the tree farms? And I'm not going to be so foolish to tell you I cut down a tree. No. But we would go and walk the farm and pick out our tree. Did you ever do that?
No, we usually just got them from the same place, and now with Top Notch, that's usually where
Top Notch. Yeah.
That's usually where Dad goes and gets the tree. Mom's got the artificial. Mom's got the artificial one.
Really?
She has it in a box, keeps it in the basement. When it's time, she brings it up and sets it in the room, and away they go. So
away they go.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. There's no given a preference. I absolutely prefer a live tree, but it just gets to be for me. It's a little bit too much work anymore. But when I was a kid, and when my kids were actually not so much when I was a kid, but when my kids were kids, it was a rite of the holiday season. My wife and I and our friends, the Wellings, you all know Mike and Luann, we would go up to where's Vicky's Tree Farm over in Bridgeport. Up Route 9, I guess it is, up Route 9. And, wander the fields and pick out our tree. I like that one. You like that one? I like that one. We would tag it and then go back and tell them what tree we picked. And then, around Christmas time, come pick it up. And that was always fun. I know there are hardy souls who would actually go out and chop their own tree down from the farm. That's not me. I'm not a tree chopper. But I at least like to pick it up. And then we slowly just began to change. And you're right, Biffy. In recent years, before I went to an artificial tree, it was always a visit to Top Notch, was where I think it's such a good selection of trees and stuff. So, but anyways, if you're looking for a tree delivered, Lowe's is doing that this year, starting next week. So I'll tell my wife that maybe we can we're going to think about getting a new one anyways, get a new tree and get it delivered and get it done with. Oh, that's a terrible thing to say about Christmas. Get it done with. I don't want to get it done with. I just want to have it ready to put up come Christmas time. I've actually already begun to order Christmas gifts. Smart, I fortunately last year I wasn't smart. I just was lucky. I had actually ordered my wife some Christmas gifts online, and then I ended up going to the hospital, as you all remember. And if I had not had those gifts ordered ahead of time, old Nancy would not have never had any gifts at all from Santa Claus. So, because I wasn't able to, I didn't know where I was, let alone how to order something. But fortunately, I'd already ordered those ahead of time, so I had some good gifts for her. This year. I've already ordered a couple of things. Actually, I just discovered this last night. I ordered some stuff off of Amazon, Biffy, for my wife. I thought. I picked some things out that she'd wanted, and I put them and I got rid of it. I thought I bought them. Last night I was on Amazon. I looked and I said, wait a minute, why does it say I've got these things in my shopping cart? Oops. Oh. I forgot to actually push the button that said buy them.
Buy them. Oops.
I picked them out. I put them in the shopping cart. I just forgot to actually buy them. Fortunately, I caught myself, so I ordered them last night. All right, 7:26 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Well, let's see. Coming up, yesterday I was on 3 different Zoom calls. Zoom has become a pretty standard way of life for me, for many people. I had a Zoom call with church. I had a Zoom call with West Liberty. I had a Zoom call for something else I did. I had 3 different Zoom calls. I've gotten Zoom down pat. And I would think anybody with any, how do you want to say it, brains, by this time understands the do's and the don'ts of Zoom calling. But apparently one prominent writer, and one that I actually like to read, didn't get the memo. I will tell you about it coming up next on the Watchdog Morning Show.
How do you give hope to a child?
OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gellner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gellnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Oh, there's something so real about living local. And I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Throughout the Ohio Valley, back to school is looking different. Each day, parents, teachers, students, coaches, and administrators are finding solutions to situations that are unprecedented. All of us at the Highlands appreciate everything you are doing and are here for the items you need. Visit hitthehighlands.com for the current guidelines and updated contact information of our retailers and restaurants.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker Darnell Foster. With a look to local weather forecast for your Wednesday, partly to mostly sunny skies, daytime high near 78. Overnight low at 57 degrees, partly cloudy skies. You'll see mostly sunny conditions around for Thursday with highs in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
And here he goes.
West Virginia football
He's going to go all the way in. Touchdown.
lives here.
And here we go. A home run ball deep downfield. And he makes the catch. Right up the middle he goes. He's on his way. It's a foot race. He's going to score. 15, 10-foot. End zone. Touchdown. West Virginia.
Tune in Saturday when the Mountaineers hit the road to face Texas Tech.
Only on your home for Mountaineer football.
The Watchdog. Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Jeffrey Toobin is a political writer who reports on the courts primarily, other things as well, but primarily a court reporter, Supreme Court in particular. Works for the New Yorker. Excuse me. He works for the New Yorker and also as a commentator for CNN. And I like him. I like his style. I like what he has to say to a large extent, and I've read a number of his books. Jeffrey Toobin. He was on a Zoom call this week with members of the New Yorker staff and WNYC Radio, public radio in New York City. And they were doing what they call an election simulation. I guess they were sort of game playing via Zoom the possibility of the upcoming election. Different people were playing different characters. There was a Biden character. There was someone playing sort of the Republicans in general. Toobin was playing the courts. So there were a number of different people on the call. There were producers on the call from the New Yorker and WNYC in this election simulation. And somewhere, somehow, now keep it right, and we're talking about, let me see, the list here, I have a list of individual, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I've got a list of 15 people who are on this Zoom call, plus the producers. So 20 people or so are on this Zoom call, right? Including Toobin. Somewhere, somehow, somebody noticed that Jeffrey was pleasuring himself on Zoom. Now, needless to say, he has been suspended from CNN and from the New Yorker, at least on a temporary basis. And he has, I guess, sort of apologized. Where's this quote here? I'm looking for a specific quote. Basically, he said that he was sorry he didn't realize he was able to be seen. Now, that is not really an explanation. First of all, anybody in this day and age, Bippy, we all know, we've done enough stories just here on this show, let alone across the country. If you're on a Zoom call, things are going to be seen. We've talked about, the teachers who have seen things in the background of their kids' house when they're doing a Zoom call for school, and, this mom and dad walking around smoking a joint. Remember, we had that story not too long ago. Or we had the story of a guy who was, he was not on the Zoom call, his wife was. She was doing fine, just forgot to close the bathroom door behind him, so he was on the toilet. So, by now, smart people know this stuff. But even if you don't, what in God's name possesses you to take matters into your own hand while you're working in a Zoom call? There's just something that's a little bit off base on that.
Just a little.
Yes. Here we go. Tubin says, quote, "I believed I was not visible on Zoom. I thought no one on the Zoom call could see me. I thought I had muted the Zoom video." Forget all that. Whether or not you were muted, whether or not you thought no one could see you, you were on a Zoom call with 20 people or so, and you took matters into your own hand? Pal, can you not wait until you get into the bathroom? It's like, you got to be kidding me. And again, this guy's a smart guy, very smart guy. I've read a lot of his work.
And he's one that should know. You got to figure, even if you think it's off, or the mic's off, or the camera's off, you got to have the mindset, especially if you're on a Zoom call with 20 people. It's not off. You got to think it's on all the time, no matter what. You gotta have that mindset.
And he works for CNN as a commentator from time to time. Anybody who works in television learns this. I learned it my very first day as a television executive, and I was doing a show, my very first TV show, 20 years ago, and we were taping the show, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was taped; it wasn't live. We're in a commercial break, and I made how do I phrase this, Biff? A gesture.
Oh, yeah. I hear you.
I made a gesture, all right? And like 5 people came running out and said, "Don't do that!" I said, "But the cameras weren't on." They said, "You never know." It was my first day, and I learned that first day, you never do anything in a studio that you don't want to be seen on television, because things do go wrong. So Tubin actually does CNN comment. I'm sure that he's been told over and over again, you don't do things during the break or any other time, because who knows when somebody's going to push the wrong button in the control room, or the right button because they want to screw you, and you're going to pop up on TV. Rose McGowan, the actress / #MeToo activist, the fact that you have to write this phrase is amazing. Apparently there have been some folks who have come to Tubin's defense. I don't know how you defend that. I just don't know how you defend it, period. But she wrote a tweet, and the fact that you have to say these words is unbelievable. She said, "Masturbating at work is neither normal nor acceptable."
Okay.
The fact that that's just kind of like a given, It's just like a given, isn't it?
It should be.
Yeah. And again, we're not talking about, I don't know what, some low life somewhere, somehow. We're talking about a prominent, major political writer for New York, for New Yorker magazine, for CNN. He's written books.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sitting here, this election simulation is getting kind of boring. Let me just unzip things what happens now. I mean, no! And in the immortal words of Forrest Gump, that's all I'm going to say about that. I am going to say we have some headlines for you. That's next. Billy's got morning sports, and then we'll check in with Zach for the morning forecast. It's all coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Next hour, we'll talk to Howard Gamble about the latest rise in COVID around the upper Ohio Valley. We're seeing it in all of our counties, a little bit increases. I think 5 new ones yesterday. I think I'm done from memory correct. 5 new ones in Ohio County. How big a problem is this? A lot of folks are saying this has become a very serious deal. We'll talk to Howard Gamble about that next hour. And Erica Storch will join us to join us in our candidate conversation segment after 8 o'clock. But right now, it's news time on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headlines from 7 News at WTRF, My Ohio Valley, and ABC Ohio Valley. Only on AM 1600 WKKX. The Watchdog.
Good morning.
Okay, that's fine. They say why? He's eating probably. He's eating. That's what it is. He's eating. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and actually, last time he wasn't on, I just let it slide because I didn't know what it was. Since we know he's not there, we can make a little joke about he's probably eating. You know, today was Wednesday. They got their food. Food was more important than us. Well, you know, we can joke about that a little bit, and then you can do the forecast for us. If that's okay with you, works for me. That's good. I have a couple other stories I wanted to get in anyways. Wednesday is always hard to get everything in with only 2 hours, especially these days with those candidates in at 8 o'clock. So that's good. I can do some other stuff too. So what we'll do, Biffy, is I'll make something. Let's go to Zach Petty, and you can go, well, actually, he's not here. Then we can talk about how he's probably eating, not coming to talk to us. Okay.
Game 2 in this Best of Series, the Fall Classic. Well, a special teams ace, linebacker Robert Spillane, will replace Devin Bush out for the season with a torn ACL in his left knee. Now, Spillane finished with 6 tackles in 30 snaps in that win over the Cleveland Browns this past Sunday at Heinz Field. Some updates as far as injured Steelers are concerned. Guard David DeCastro, wide receiver Deontay Johnson, both sat out against the win against those Cleveland Browns. They'll return to practice today, and that's good news. 5-0 Steelers visit the 5-0 Tennessee Titans Sunday. Steelers are favored by 2. Hey, be safe out there. Please check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
From the Watchdog Network, right now, traffic. Here's the latest from the Robinson Auto Group Traffic Center.
Traffic near the Highlands, on Washington Avenue, and on the Fort Henry Bridge is running regularly. Traffic near the Ohio Valley Mall, on 70 and 470, and on State Route 7 looks good. The single lane closures in both directions on US 40 from Fulton to Bethany Pike will continue. McCulloch Street under I-70 will continue to have single lane closures. The Market Street overpass with reduction will continue. The single lane closures on Route 2 under I-70 will continue. I-70 construction will continue westbound where crossovers are in effect. And all existing detours and closures will continue for the I-70 Bridges project. Follow Ohio Valley Traffic Report on Facebook, WTRF 7 News, and the Watchdog for updates.
Follow us on Facebook for the latest news, show updates, podcasts, alerts, and live video streams from the Valley's only network dedicated to local, community-driven talk radio, The Watchdog. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-8255.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Well, the Jeffrey Toobin story prompts some of you to send me a couple of texts here. Howard, don't worry about Jeffrey Toobin. Reports are that he will get off. Let's see. Howard, I remember I said that they were doing a Zoom call on election stimulation. Howard, he thought they said erection stimulation. Okay, all right. You people are pretty clever here this morning. Howard, it sounds like this guy's book smart, common sense dumb. I guess I couldn't disagree with you on that. It's pretty stupid. I don't know what this one means, so I just won't read it. And I was mentioning earlier that if you just joined us, it's a sad year. 2020 is for many reasons, but among them, the Peanuts TV specials will no longer be on free TV, on network television. They'll now be on a pay service, Apple Plus service. You have to subscribe to it to be able to watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special and Halloween special. It's a great pumpkin Charlie Brown, and the Christmas special. And that's sad because to me that's a rite of childhood. And I said I want to be honest about it. For those of us of the middle class or upper middle class, it's not a big deal. I can afford it. I have Apple Plus, I have Disney Plus, I have CBS All Access and Netflix and Hulu and all those things because I can afford it. But a lot of people can't. I've got a text here. Oh, don't forget you also have to pay for Teddy's cell phone bill. Yeah, well, there is that as well. All right, running a little behind time for us to check the Ohio Valley forecast. And for that, let's go over to the Big 7, WTRF TV. Zach Petty is here.
Actually, Howard, Zach is not there.
Hello, Zach. Come in if you can hear me. Zach, not here?
No.
You know what? Seriously, he's not here?
Yeah.
Did you see the tail end of today's Wednesday? It's their morning food day at the Big 7.
I did see that. They didn't have as much food though as they usually do, but
that's because they ate it all.
No, there's a little bit there, but
that's what it is. So Penny decided he's gonna go ahead and eat his food as opposed to do the radio show. Is that what it is? That's what it boils down to. I'm pretty sure.
No, that'd be
he's
my
over there
guess.
chowing down. Oh, really? Well, look, we know he likes to eat. We've talked about it. He likes to eat. He's having a good breakfast and leaving me hanging in the lurch here.
He probably thought...
Probably not even going to suggest to McDonald's that they send something down to the radio station. Of course, I'm not there, so it doesn't make any difference.
He said, good breakfast, call Howard. Good breakfast, call Howard. Good breakfast.
Let's weigh these out.
Yeah.
Nope, think I'll eat. I think I'll eat. Speaking of which, just got a note from my wife that she's getting ready to take Teddy to school. And normally, Mom and Dad do, but they've got some other things this morning, so Nancy's getting ready to take him to school. And I'm thinking to myself, Wheeling Country Day, quite literally, is just off the parking lot of you-know-what, Biff.
Bob Evans, of course.
Yes. So, I mean, she's going to be literally right there. Drop Teddy off, pick up sausage, gravy, and biscuits, bring it back for Granddad. Honey, what do you think about that? Honey?
She's ignoring me. Nancy? We're having conversation about you here. See if she's going to show up here.
Be careful.
Listen, we're having conversation about you. Why? Well, since you're going to go get Teddy at Wheeling Country Day, it is literally right off the parking lot of Bob Evans. So what you could do, let Teddy off, whoop, right over there. You could walk there, but just whoop, right over there. Sausage, gravy, and biscuits. Why are you shaking your head now? No?
We need to settle down on the sausage, gravy, and biscuits.
I'm going to chow down on them. I'll settle down on them. So this would be good. This would,
you, but not for us.
Yeah, but you would be, no? All right. Can't say I didn't try, Biffy. I thought that maybe
Well, looks like a egg again for you.
Yeah, have another hard-boiled egg for breakfast. Jeez. All right, Zach is not with us. Do we know what the forecasts are going to be? It's going to be a pretty nice day, right?
Yeah, Zach actually he gave me a quick weather synopsis for today. He said it will be rather warm today, feeling more like summer, highs in the mid-70s. He said you'll need the sunglasses for tomorrow and Friday, highs in the upper 70s, and the weekend is looming, rainy and seasonal for your weekend. So there you go.
All right, there we go. That's the best we can get since he's eating, not coming to call us. That's all right. Sometimes you just got to learn your place. Just like I got put in my place here by my wife. So Zach's over there eating breakfast and decided not to call the radio station. Okay, I get it. And my wife says, no, I can't have sausage, gravy, and biscuits, even though she's going to be right there. I mean, I'm actually going to make a special. Anyway. All right, well, hopefully Zach will be back with us tomorrow. I guess they don't have food tomorrow, do they?
No, it's just Wednesday.
All right, so hopefully he'll think to call us at that point. Let's see here. Wow. Howie just got schooled on the air by the Nancinator. Yeah, Nancinator. Oh, and look what she brought me, Biff.
Oh,
if you're watching on video, you can see it. It's an egg.
I told you.
Hard-boiled egg. This is sausage, gravy, and biscuits. I'm excited about. What do I got? Hard-boiled egg in a bowl. Jeez.
No toast?
No toast, no nothing. Hard-boiled egg in a bowl. That's it. That's all I got.
Wow.
I guess that's breakfast. Man. This day is not starting off well, I'll be honest with you.
Tough times.
Tough times for sure.
They take the
9
peanuts.
before the hour here. What's that?
They take the peanuts away and you don't get breakfast.
No, I mean, it's just, honest to goodness. 9 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Say, I want to talk about our friends at FanDuel for a minute. I want to remind you once again about these same-game parlay bets. These are really becoming very popular. FanDuel is the only place that does the same-game parlays. And you have to have a FanDuel app in order to play them, of course. But a lot of people tell me they've been playing the same-game parlays, and most of them are winning. Some are not, but that's okay because FanDuel's got an interesting little deal for you, even if you lose. But with the same-game parlay, you pick a game that you're particularly interested in. This weekend, just as an example, we have the Browns and the Bengals this weekend here on the Watchdog. Maybe you want to place a bet on that. A Browns fan, Bengals fan, whatever you think. A Brownies fan or a Bungles fan, depending on what how you feel. Place your bet, and you can take multiple bets on a single game and combine them into one single parlay. This way, the payouts are even bigger when you win. So, and then FanDuel's got a really neat deal. They will refund the first same-game parlay you lose on any NFL game every week of the entire season, up to $10 per parlay. That means you can bet a different parlay risk-free every NFL week all season long. So pick the games of interest to you, place some bets, and then combine them together into a same-game parlay. And you could get $10 back if you don't win. Now, the catch is you have to have FanDuel because they're the only sportsbook app that has the same-game parlay bets. So if you don't already have FanDuel, just use the promo code Monroe when you sign up. That way they'll know that I sent you. FanDuel Sportsbook promo code Monroe. You must be 21 or older. You must be physically present in West Virginia or in Pennsylvania. The refund is issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. The maximum refund is $10 per game. Terms apply. Gaming problem, if you like to play, if you like to gamble and it's fun for you, you got the disposable income, by all means do it. But if you can't, if it's a difficulty for you, if you're an addict, let's be honest about it, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. It's 6 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Story out of Belmont County, which is, I have slightly mixed feelings about this. Not a ton, but slightly mixed feelings about this. This is from the Big Seven. Local residents turned to social media to speak out against a sign in front of the business Mike's Tire in Bethesda. The sign, and I'm looking at it right here, says, "White Lives Matter. Who else would pay for welfare? Trump 2020." On the Mike Tire Facebook page, there's lots of criticism of this. White Lives Matter, perceived to be a very racist thing. The tire shop owner, Mike, says the sign was not intended to be racist. Now, we can, what does racist mean exactly? I maybe not racist per se, but I think when you put a sign up that says White Lives Matter, it is obviously intended to disparage Black Lives Matter. I don't see how you can read it any other way. Is it racist? I don't know, Mike. So, I'm not going to say that, but it certainly would suggest that White Lives Matter. You put that out there. And I know, saying, well, don't White Lives Matter? Of course they do. Somebody used the example, if you were having a birthday party and people began to sing happy birthday to you, and suddenly someone said, no, we're not going to sing happy birthday to you. Why, all birthdays matter. Well, no, but today's my birthday. There's a particular reason for this. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. Certainly all lives matter. White lives matter. Hispanic lives matter. Gay lives matter. Straight lives matter. White lives matter. But the point is to focus on an issue with Black Lives Matter. And in order to say White Lives Matter, to me, it is a rebuttal of that concept that we're supposed to actually recognize there is a societal problem. At any rate, Mike, and I don't know Mike, I know only what I read here in the Big Seven. Mike says the sign was not intended to be racist. He says the goal of the sign was to pose the question, who would pay for welfare? And stated his disagreement with the government-assisted program. He doesn't like welfare. That, of course, would be because Mike is not on welfare or never needed welfare, probably doesn't understand that there are a lot of people who do need welfare and can't get off of it. But nonetheless, a bit of a little mini controversy over there in Bethesda. One member of Bethesda's community says it is disturbing that there are people in the community who think like this. As she says, this woman says, phrases White Lives Matter downplays what the Black Lives Matter movement stands for. Mike said he had planned to replace the sign anyways with one honoring veterans, and so I guess he's going to do that. Stop and think, people. Especially if you're in business. Stop and think. You may have a political point of view that you want to express, and it's one thing to say Trump 2020 or riding with Biden, but to go too much further than that could damage your business. I just don't understand people that don't. I don't understand people who don't understand that. Again, story comes to me from the Big Seven. I thought it was worth our time. Next hour, Erica Storch is going to join us. Erica was with us on Monday as the president of the Wheeling Area Chamber of Commerce. She is with us today as the 3rd District delegate running for re-election in this upcoming election, less than 2 weeks away now. Doug Giffen will be in as well, our minder from the Building and Construction Trades Council. So we'll talk with Doug. We'll talk with Erica. That's coming up. And also, Howard Gamble is going to join us later on in the next hour, as we talk about some of the latest COVID numbers. We are seeing some rises in COVID numbers, relatively small, but enough that we've got Wheeling Park High School on remote, John Marshall High School on remote, Moundsville Middle School on remote, Valley High was on remote. I think they just went back. So we're seeing an awful lot of schools being significantly affected by the rise in COVID cases. We'll talk to Howard Gamble about that coming up in the next hour of the show. Right now, we'll talk about the news from ABC. They cover the world for us here on the Watchdog Morning Show for a Wednesday.
Last better now than it was back then. If I was them, I wouldn't let me in. Oh, God,
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Okay, Biffy, Doug Giffen should be in studio. Erica's calling in, I believe. I know. And Howard Gamble's supposed to call in at 8:40, so hopefully it will all work out. We shall have to wait and see. Indeed. I guess I'll eat my egg. One crappy little hard-boiled egg. Not bad. No. Not sausage, gravy, and biscuits, I'll tell you that. All right. I'm going to step away for a minute. I'll be back in a minute. Okie dokie. Who's it? Glenn's in studio, right? Okay. Oh, okay. Is anybody in studio? I don't care. I just. Okay, that's fine. No problem. Okay.
Attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email freoauc@aol.com. Frio Stack & Associates sells the earth and everything on it.
Island Pawnbrokers is now your local firearm dealer. In a pinch? Need cash quick? See us before going to the big box stores. Paying top dollar for firearms, gold, silver, tools, coins, and electronics. Don't lose your good credit. Let us give you instant cash. Stop by 2 North Broadway Street on Wheeling Island, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Island Pawnbrokers. Stop in for instant cash.
The Wheeling Area Chamber of Commerce and McKinley Carter Wealth Services urge everyone: support our local businesses, keep dollars in our own economy, protect our community character and well-being, create more jobs at home, and the money spent here gets spent here over and over. Presented by the Wheeling Chamber of Commerce, supporting our local economy, and McKinley Carter Wealth Services. 20 years of helping clients master their wealth in the Wheeling area and beyond.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday, partly to mostly sunny skies, daytime high near 78, overnight low at 57 degrees, partly cloudy skies. You'll see mostly sunny conditions around for Thursday, with highs in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, everybody!
Good morning.
Guess what time it is?
Do you have any idea what time it is?
Well, what time is it?
The time is...
Wake up!
Time.
Wake up! Hey, wake up, stupid!
Wake up, dummy!
We're gonna wake up and we're gonna make a difference.
Let's wake up the rest of the gang.
The rest of the gang?
Wake up and listen up.
Okay, let's go. It's showtime!
Live from the Robinson Auto Group studios in the heart of the Ohio Valley, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
COVID cases are inching up locally. Coming up later on, Ohio County Health Department Administrator Howard Gamble will join us to discuss some of the latest numbers and trends.
Our weekly conversation with candidates continues in just a moment. Erica Storch is joining us, 3rd District Delegate. In our D.C. Digest, Trump calls on Barr to investigate Biden. Reports say that Trump has a Chinese bank account, and the DOJ files antitrust cases against Google. Plus, controversy over a local man's sign in Belmont County being called racist. A well-known writer is suspended from CNN for pleasuring himself on a Zoom call. There's a new Girl Scout cookie flavor this year, and they're not going to allow us to watch the Charlie Brown holiday specials on free TV anymore. All of that coming up, or some of which we did in the last hour of the show. If the weather-wise is looking for an okay day today, going to be mostly sunny today. Some clouds will roll in a little bit later on in the afternoon. Daytime high, nice and warm, 75. Could see a little bit of rain possible this afternoon as well. Currently 60 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 60 degrees at the home studios here in Elm Grove, and 60 degrees at the Robinson Otterburg Studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Biff and I will kick around until 10 o'clock this morning. The legislative watchdogs will be in at 10, continuing conversation on the issues of politics around West Virginia. Then coming up today at 10 o'clock, as always, statewide talk line, Hoppy Kerchev will have, among other guests, State Senator Mike Maroney. He's got his own political issues to deal with. Senator Maroney will be on with Hoppy today on statewide talk line between 10 and noon. Today is a Wednesday. That means we kind of mix things up a little bit in the midday. It's the mayor's show. Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott and Vice Mayor Chad Thalman will be in on Your Wheeling, no two ways about it. Biffy, they have a very special guest coming up today. Very special guest today on the Your Wheeling show. You know who it is?
I do not.
Me.
Oh, you.
They asked me if I would come in and talk about the Planning Commission vote this week on the GCMP, so sure, why not? Wednesday is my one day to be in the office, so I'll drop by there. Then the ladies are on after that. And coming up this afternoon on the afternoon drive, it's Paul Harris. So that's what we have coming up. Now let's talk about candidates, Biffy.
The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues. These conversations with candidates are sponsored by the Upper Ohio Valley Building and Construction Trades.
I'm at home, so I always get confused. Who have I got in studio with me today? Who's there? Hello, mystery guest. Can you come in and sign in, please?
Good morning, Howard. It's Doug Gifford.
Oh, Doug, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Appreciate your being there this morning.
Oh, no
We're going to talk to Erica Storch in just a minute as well. Doug, give me a quick sense of what's the union, what have the unions been doing? You're with what, IBEW, I think, right?
Yeah, so we've made...
What have you guys been doing for the election?
Yeah, you're on, Doug. Good.
Yeah, we've made a ton of phone calls, and we're out door knocking and literature drops. Not so much face-to-face on your porch talking to people, but social media also. Just trying to push out people that help working families here in West Virginia and our union as far as protecting the rights of workers. We've done everything we can. We've had honking waves, which, honking waves on the corner with your signs, just asking people that support the signs we're holding up to come past and honk and wave at us and, keep up support for the candidates.
As you're out and about, I know, as you said, you're really not doing door to door, you're not seeing people face to face, but what, if any, sense do you get in this election? Are people motivated? Tell me what feeling you're getting, Doug.
I've had a lot of very, very positive phone calls with people that seem to understand politics in this area more than they used to, 8-10 years ago. They understand that the people that they choose for the offices that represent them needs to be important, and that local elections are a lot stronger than, national elections for them and affect them a little more in a lot of cases.
Yeah. And then you all choose candidates, and you actually do it by a vote, right? I mean, you choose candidates that you are endorsing or supporting, correct?
So all our candidates are chosen by panels of our local CLCs, and that is our central labor councils for each area. And then those candidates are vented up to the state AFL-CIO, which vote on those at a conference, or this year was a Zoom meeting. And then those candidates are brought back to our union halls, which our e-board and our general membership vote on. So there's a lot of questions asked to each candidate. We monitor what they do. If they're coming back and asking for another session, we monitor what they've done in prior sessions to help everybody out. And if we find that they're a great candidate for the area, we'll back them. Now, there are times that, there's no endorsement, and that means that the candidate was halfway decent but didn't meet all the criteria for all those different organizations to get through and pushed as somebody that we supported. And we'll just answer with, hey, there's no endorsement there. There are candidates that we're completely against, that we know that fight against West Virginians, fight against landowners, fight against local people that work, and what we do.
One of the candidates that you are supporting is Erica Stewart's 3rd District delegate. She's here with us this morning. Erica, good morning once again.
Good morning. Good morning, Doug.
Glad to have you here with us again.
I wanted to say a few things about Erica, if I could. First off, Erica's door has always been open, and she's always been willing to talk when she's in session down there. She's always had our backs as far as voting-wise. And I believe she's a very strong candidate that represents the working people here in Ohio County.
It sounds pretty good, Erica.
Yeah, thank you. That's very humbling. Greatly appreciate your kind words, Doug.
No, not a problem. Anytime. No,
Erica, I follow your Facebook posts and so on, and from time to time you seem to get frustrated.
I try to not take it to Facebook, but sometimes it just gets the better of me.
I'm sorry, but it comes through. I mean, not in a terrible way. It's just I can tell sometimes you just really get frustrated. I remember the first time you ran and you were kind of all enthused. Are you still happy? Do you still get a rush out of being a delegate, given all the things have changed a lot, really, since you first went into office? It's not been that long ago, but still long enough that there have been a lot of changes. Do you still get a rush out of it? Do you still get satisfaction out of it?
Yes, there's nothing like the experience when you look at the Capitol building, when you're going in and just realizing that you're part of the process, which is, it's incredible to think the people that have sat in the seats before you, the people that have walked the halls, have pushed the voting machine buttons and stuff, as far as just to be a part of that process is so, I get awestruck every time.
One of the things that I thought was impressive.
Doug, I interrupted you. You were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, one of the things that I found impressive, and a lot of people don't realize is, if there's a bill that's coming out that you don't or do like, you can contact your House members or your Senate members and vocally speak to them and tell them what you do or don't like about that bill. You also have the opportunity while they're in session to go down to Charleston, knock on their doors, speak to them if their doors are open. Not all of them have their doors open or want to speak to anybody. And you can go in and watch the session and see the votes, and it's a very neat experience. Now, I don't know what they're doing this year with the coronavirus. I'm sure they'll try to keep a lot of this stuff open. But we've spent a lot of trips taking our local membership down if they want to go down. And we basically got started very early with the right to work and prevailing wage laws that were under attack. And we sent busloads of people from the Ohio Valley down and stood in blizzards. And there's a lot of representatives' doors that were locked or would meet with you and get very smart. And there's some very humbling people down there that take the time and listen to you and may even change their opinion of what they're going to vote on. And we believe Erica, has always helped us out.
Doug, you have members of the House or the Senate for that matter, but you have elected officials who will not meet with you, who will close their door, won't talk, won't have conversations with you. You come across that from time to time?
Actually, yeah. Ryan Ferns' door was always locked. That's why, we personally went after Ryan Ferns, and for him, the votes that he did cast when he didn't listen to anybody, and, same with Ryan Weld right now. But I'm not getting into that. We're here to speak about Erica, who's been very great as far as a person that represents this area, and we'd like to see Erica get back in again for sure.
Erica, to what degree do people coming by to see you or emailing you or whatever, to what extent does that influence the way you vote or influence the way you're thinking when you're in Charleston?
Well, I try to always reach out to my constituents, especially if I'm unfamiliar on a topic, just to get their experiences and their position. It has happened that I've talked to somebody and it made sense, and then I got a counterpoint after that I was like, well, that makes sense too. And sometimes, that can put you in a real pickle and you can be, at odds between constituents. But I have some experience with the building trade in just my professional career, and so that has made it really easy to see their issues. And then, like Doug said, they come down, and I think this group has done a great job of trying to educate either apprentices or those that are newly getting into the trade, and they bring them down, make sure that they're familiar with whom is representing them, and they kind of walk them through the first time to really make sure that they understand the way. And they've always been very respectful. I have had an office mate the past couple years, and she is less open door than I am. So that has created a little bit of a conflict sometimes when, if I'm in there or she's in there, we're both in there together or whatever, that's created a little bit of a conflict. But whenever anybody has come to see me and has been able to, they typically will knock on the door if the door's closed. I'm glad to see him and glad for a little bit of a break because, like I said, she and I don't really share philosophies. She's a nice lady, but we just don't share philosophies.
I guess I have one question because I think anybody that's in a position such as you that has a decision to make, has there ever been a decision that you've sat up at night wondering, am I on the right side of this? Is my opinion the one that I should be, voting and carrying through with this? Have you ever had a decision that's, mentally made you think through things a lot stronger?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, from reading the bills, and that's what's difficult on occasion when you have people that come down and you want to spend time with them, you want to understand their issues. We have a couple groups that come down and schedule dinners and stuff, and that's great. But then at the end of that dinner, we have to go back and read the bills and stuff, and then and by that point, you're not reading them the night before you're voting on them because there's, as you know, Doug, they're read 3 different days, so you have some time to get into it. But once session's really running quickly, everything's coming at you pretty fast. But there's definitely been votes that I have been like, I'm on the right side of this. Is there more good in this than there's bad? Because there have been bills that unfortunately when you're dealing with 135 personalities and several of them have everyone in that room or in both rooms on both sides have weigh in and say as far as what gets into a bill and how it gets amended, and you can only hope that sometimes you can amend out some bad stuff and amend in some better stuff for your area. And unfortunately, my greatest frustration is probably that I feel like the Northern Panhandle is more sensible because we just, you're trying to explain to other people in other parts of the state that the things that they're looking at doing are going to be detrimental to Ohio County or to the Northern Panhandle. And it's just frustrating because, I guess that they can't see it from their vantage point, and I guess they're there to vote for their constituents, but it's just frustrating when you know that it could be damaging to your area.
Maybe the best example of that recently has been the Greyhound issue, where I think that you and the entire Panhandle delegation were able to explain to other delegates and senators on the other side of the Capitol why it was such an important deal. Something that probably didn't cross a lot of their minds. They just listened to some of the advertising or some of the lobbying. But you guys were able to pull together and provide some important information. And my strong sense is you changed people's minds.
And we have successfully educated several in the body, several that, especially once with that particular issue, once they start, like the whole, this $15 million could go to roads or education. Well, no, it can't. It can't. That's not how it works. It would take separate legislation to make that happen. And honestly, if we were to eliminate the Greyhound racing, we probably should give the money back to the track because that's where it comes from. So, but it's frustrating because, they put out those misleading pieces of information that indicate that it's just like a money grab, and aren't there, who doesn't want to help our education? Who doesn't want to help our roads? I mean, but it's just lies to try to get people to see that particular side of the issue. And unfortunately, there are some that are still like dead set against it. They're like, well, what's it do for my area? My area gets no benefit. Well, your area does get benefit because there is cross-play. And there is, this thing called the Promise Scholarship that is funded through lottery. So there is a lot of, and there's a lot of lottery dollars that go to senior citizens if you're not in a place where you have younger people. And there is education money in the special fund lottery, which is another thing that people like to forget. So there is benefit to every person in this state just because of the cross-play and the various things that come into that fund that can't just go to roads or education on their own.
The upcoming session is a little bit iffy because of COVID. Roger Henshaw, in fact, has suggested maybe just get a budget done and go home and come back later in a special session. But assuming you actually are able to tackle some issues, what do you see, Erica, as the big issues that will be coming up in the session ahead?
Oh, I think that there's going to be lots of legislation introduced. Now, if it'll gain traction or whatever, I don't know. But as far as around specifically defining the powers of the governor, specifically defining the powers of health officers, specifically restricting the powers of the governor, specifically restricting the powers of health officers, I think we'll see a lot just based on our current time, as far as that'll be fresh in people's minds. And possibly, I know workforce has had a lot on their plate. I don't know if there's any real legislation that will need to be done to handle the workforce situation because they were able to get assistance from the Guard, which was probably needed manpower to help get those claims processed. We obviously don't want to have a bank of workforce employees waiting to be activated if we would ever have another pandemic or shutdown type situation, because nobody wants to face that again. But I think there will also be a need to look at maybe more closely some DHHR, CPS type stuff, because I've been hearing some horror stories about what's been going on with our children.
I guess I had just one question, and West Virginia, I believe, has probably had its biggest windfall that it's ever had with the money that was handed down from the federal government. And you guys, when you're in session once a year, have always had that opportunity to make monetary adjustments into the state, and have never really had a cash bank that came into West Virginia. Do you believe that the governor had that right to go ahead and start spending that money without calling a special session of the people that are representing the people down into Charleston's capital?
Well, so while we're under a state of emergency, he does. However, that's where the question comes: is did the state of emergency outlast his authority? I think we will have plenty of supplementals that we will have to pass to direct monies to initiatives that the governor had put into place. And I know several are cautious or fearful, and I don't believe anybody, including the governor, ever wants to be in a position where the federal government comes back and says, West Virginia will be needing that $1.25 billion back because it was not spent the right way.
Yeah, that's
But I'm
the,
real
that's
interested to see
that's
the
the scary scenario. Yeah, exactly. Doug, let me ask you the same question from the union point of view. What do you anticipate or want to see as the big issues to be dealt with in the upcoming session? Or do you have any on the table yet, or any thoughts about that yet?
So I guess I took office, this is going on 7 years, and from the very start, you know, you had a long time where workers' rights were not attacked in West Virginia, 70-some years. And we stepped into a position, me and Tom Connor, with and our executive board membership, where we were under attack with the repeal of prevailing wage and the attack on right to work, which basically, you know, attacked us in general head to head. We would always like to see those bills back the way they were and amended to their original shape before we took office. And we would like to see just the attack on general labor and labor unions throughout the state of West Virginia. We'd like to see that attack stop. And you know, we've been silent a long time as far as how badly some people are treated. We'd just like to see it go back to where it's either neutral or swing a little bit the other way.
Erica, do you concur that that labor has not been given fair shrift, and do you think that things may turn around, or do you think it's time to readjust the thinking process there in Charleston a bit?
So I've continually tried to discuss with my colleagues in Charleston, you know, how prevailing wage protects local communities. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it is that Charleston is not the pinpoint center of the state, but is more centrally located than Wheeling is, and several of those other communities are similarly situated. But you know, if you look at the numbers of the percentage of our population that lives in a border county, it's frustrating because our local communities with prevailing wage and with project labor agreements, we have the opportunity to really protect the local community. The local community can just turn the money over in its own community, and those are the people that are going to sponsor the little league teams and give to the spaghetti dinners and all that. And it's frustrating because we keep being at an impasse with that conversation. So on the other side of that issue, I think when you hear from small communities that are saying that because prevailing wage is no longer in place, they are able to pave X more miles of roadways than they would have been if they had to pay prevailing wage. I think that's the argument that keeps getting thrown back at me as far as, well, look, my small community in, wherever, West Virginia, was able to pave more miles because they don't have to pay prevailing wage. But they're not understanding that, that it's better for the community to have that prevailing wage intact, because then the monies aren't leaving the area with the out-of-town contractors. And right to work, still I think they're on the right to work kick because of, the checkbox or whatever, as far as if businesses are looking at your state. But, and we have had some businesses come into the state, but is that even remotely related to the right to work passage? Everybody that I've talked to on the other side of the issue will always say yes. That's definitely why. But I don't know that that's accurate. And like I said, I have practical experience with it. And when I look at from logistically, when I was a structural steel fabricator and would have to talk to one guy and he'd have to have representation. I could talk to somebody else without representation. And this person's contract would be handled by the collective bargaining agreement that governed our operation. And then when you were working on this person, he wasn't in the contract, and I just can't even imagine. It would be a logistical nightmare for a small employer like I was.
So,
And it's frustrating because, like I said, I've had the experience working that, and you talk to these people that may spend their day, maybe as an emergency room nurse or wherever they spend their time. They don't, and they've never been in that situation, but they're not willing to take my input. But when we have, an issue with nurses, since I already said nurses, if you have an issue with nurses, they're the first person I'm going to and saying, let me understand this issue better.
Right.
So I guess.
Doug, any final thoughts?
No. Yeah, we're still going to push back against right to work. It's like being a member of a country club and having somebody come off the street and say, hey, I get to enjoy all the amenities without paying any membership fees. So we're at the end of the day, we're still going to push back against that. But no, I thank everybody, and I hope that everybody gets out and votes this next election season. It's for your well-being to choose the proper candidate that best represents your opinion on things. And we thank Erica for what she's done for us in the past, and we're going to keep continuing to move forward.
Erica, appreciate your time this morning. Twice this week, boy, that's a record for us, I think, and for a good while. So.
Well, hopefully the next time I'm on, it's not as a result of you reading a Facebook post and sensing my frustration. Or maybe
No,
that
was
was
just I can tell sometimes. That's all. You're pretty open about things sometimes. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I got to move on. Erica, have a good day. Good talking to you. We'll do it again sometime soon, I suspect. And
thank you.
Everybody go out and vote. Early voting is now officially underway. So if you don't want to do mail-in and you don't want to go on election day, just go down to the election boards over the next couple of weeks and go vote. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headlines from 7 News at WTRF, My Ohio Valley, and ABC Ohio Valley. Only on AM 1600 WKKX. The Watchdog.
Good morning.
All right, I'll be back in a minute, Biffy. Let me know when Howard's on the line. All right, back in a minute. All right, I'm back, Biff.
Alrighty, thank you.
Is the older brother of current WVU quarterback Jarrett Deggy. Well, on Tuesday, Jarrett told the story about watching that 2012 game between West Virginia and Tech. And after watching his brother successfully engineer the upset, he asked his dad in the stands if he could run onto the field with the thousands of others who decided to have an impromptu party at West Virginia's expense. Dad said, sure. Jarrett took off, and a memory was made. Jarrett also admits to having taken part that day in the Red Raiders fan tradition of firing tortilla shells at the other team. On Saturday, in a wonderfully ironic twist, Deggy will be firing footballs on that same field trying to beat the team he once cheered for. Now, in a Disney movie, these types of scenarios always end well. Kid comes back to his hometown, beats the hometown school. However, this isn't Disney, and perhaps the biggest challenge of the entire week will be for Deggy to maintain his composure, not to try too hard. Neil Brown says much of what he'll focus on this week with Deggy will be in placing him in the right mindset. That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
Ohio Valley Medical Center was shut down by California-based Electo, who laid off 1,200 employees in Ohio County, while costing thousands more their access to health care. Where was Senator Ryan Weld? He was working as a lawyer for the law firm that represents Electo. Delegate Randy Schwartzmiller stood up for you. He called for an investigation into Electo. Randy Schwartzmiller will always fight for you and your health care. He's one of us.
Paid for by friends of Randy Schwartzmiller.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Hop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at wine and beverage merchants.
Conversation you care about from people you know. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
"60 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 60 degrees at my home studios in Elm Grove, 60 degrees at the Robinson Autogram Studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Going to be clear skies, or there are clear skies out there at least right now. I want to tell you very briefly about our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. You know, I keep talking about these same-game parlays. It's what they're really big on these days because it's a big way for you to win bigger, and if you lose, still pick up some cash. How's it work? Well, first of all, same-game parlay just means that you can combine multiple bets on any one game into a single parlay. You can pick any game. For example, the Browns and Bengals this weekend, which we have here on the Watchdog. You can place a couple of different bets on that, combine them into a single parlay. That way, the payouts are even bigger when you win. And what's cool right now is FanDuel will refund that first same-game parlay you lose on any NFL game every week during the season up to $10. That means you can bet a different parlay risk-free every NFL week all season long. So go ahead and place your bets. But you can't do it without the FanDuel app. So download the FanDuel app and use my name, Monroe, in the promo code box. That way you get advantage of all these free deals we talk about. You must be 21 or older. I have to remind you of that. You must be physically present in West Virginia or in Pennsylvania. The refund is issued as a non-withdrawable site credit. It does expire in 7 days if you don't use it. Maximum refund per game is $10. Terms do apply. If you enjoy gambling and having fun and it's discretionary income, by all means, go do it. If you have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. It's We're in the midst of some ebb and flow, it seems to me, in COVID here in the local area. We've got increasing number of cases, I think, in each of the counties or most of the counties around here. John Marshall and Moundsville Middle are on remote learning for the rest of this week. Wheeling Park High School is on remote learning. Soup Kitchen shut down. I wanted to talk about all of this with Howard Gamble from the Health Department. Howard, good morning. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Morning.
I didn't see any report this morning. Yesterday it was 5 new cases. Yesterday, anything new today in Ohio County?
As of this morning, early, we've have about 10 new cases, and it's typical for this time of the week as the laboratories are beginning to catch up from the Monday and Saturday testing because a lot of them are not testing Sundays. We began in the middle of the week to see a spike in numbers, and as of this morning, at least 10 new ones.
It seems to me, as I said, these things do ebb and flow, but it seems like we're flowing more than ebbing in the past week or so. Are we seeing more community spread, do you think? Is that what's happening out there?
We are seeing more community. That was evident many or several months ago. What we're seeing now is a case that runs through a household. So you have either a child or a mom and dad infected, and then it affects the rest of the family very quickly. So that's what we see a lot now is one case then blossoms very quickly to 4 or 5 within a household. We do also see a number of cases linked to the school systems. I don't think any school system in the county is not affected by the cases.
When the schools, or actually any other entity, I suppose, have a concern about what's happening, they call you for advice, or they call the health department for advice, and is that right?
Well, a long time ago, even before the pandemic, we tried to make sure we have a working relationship with all the schools. And in this county, we have 3 systems, parochial, private, and public. So we make sure we have a good working relationship with all of them, from administration down to the school nurse, or a lead contact. And so they do give us a call when they have cases. They are very active, both Wheeling Park and Central, as well as Lindsley, in trying to identify very quickly when a case is positive who is a direct contact. And they know what the reason behind that is, which is identifying a direct contact very quickly and having them removed prevents the fact that if we don't, or we don't get everybody, you'll have a new case or new cases, and then an abundance of contacts just increase over a time period. So they've gotten very good at doing some of our basic epidemiological work and identifying cases. They give us calls, whether it's a concern or it's yes, we were notified of a public. And with the onset of rapids that are now available at a lot of centers, these are rapid tests, antigen tests. Sometimes the individual has the results before the county does, or the state, or in that matter, the physician. And at that point, they begin to notify people, the family or the people that are positive, that I am now positive, and I'm just calling you. So with the increase of rapids all across the country, sometimes our work, we have a little catch-up to do because they know before, and you need now to go back and say, this is what we need to look at, prior, 48 hours prior, what you were doing, where you're employed, where you go to school.
The governor has said this week that he thinks a key to identifying and solving our problem is more testing. Do you think we need more testing?
Well, we do an abundance of testing in the upper Ohio Valley, especially in the Ohio County area. From the MedExpress's Urgent Cares Hospital, Wheeling Health right now, our testing, the universities, Reynolds, Weirton, an abundance of testing is done. Testing does help identify, especially when you have asymptomatic individuals. Now, we have nearly 500 cases by the end of the week, we'll have 500. And you have to think these are 500 identified cases. There's probably many, many more that were not identified, either mild symptoms or I have it, I know it, I don't need to go get tested. So increasing testing does help in that we're able to identify patient A who has mild or no symptoms, is infectious, and goes to an area where you're going to have close contacts with people. And as a result, you may spread that, whether it's a business, a food service, a school. So it does help in identifying cases. From a public health standpoint, yes, more testing does identify cases and helps try to reduce additional cases by removing that individual or trying to find where the contacts were and asking them to quarantine.
In the schools, what's the dividing line between, it probably is a school decision, not yours, but what would your advice be? What's the deciding line between we've had a case of COVID, we've got it identified, we're going to continue having classes? Wheeling Park's a good example. I think you can help me with the timing on this, but over the weekend, I think there was one case, then two cases, and then suddenly they decided to go to all remote for the week. What makes the difference there? One case, two cases can be controlled, but once we get too many cases, is it too hard to control, or what?
No, it's a joint decision, but it's based on guidelines produced by the state of West Virginia. So all the counties are trying to follow these guidelines on when a case is identified. So it's a decision jointly between both the county health department and the school system. And what you do. And some of it is very clear cut. If you have one case, you identify, remove, and then identify direct contacts, and then have them quarantine. To go to remote, under the guidelines, all school systems and county health departments, we do have the ability to have the school system close until we can identify all contacts. Now, that's because it may take time to try to identify them. That's why we move a little quicker when we have a case, identify them so we don't have to. But every once in a while, under the guidelines, when you have too many cases, or it is seen as outbreaks within multiple classrooms or multiple areas, you need to suspend in-person learning. And you have a couple options. One, you suspend based on a 14-day from the day of the outbreak, 14 days going forward, or you modify that. And some counties have chosen to modify based on we will close for X amount of days, evaluate at some point, and then determine if we need to continue to do that. So it's a joint decision, but it is part of guidelines established by the state.
Howard, we've been talking a lot in the last couple of weeks about the schools, and because there have been several cases of schools now having to go remote, John Marshall, Moundsville Middle in Marshall County, Wheeling Park High School here, I think up in Brooke County maybe. Anyways, we've been focusing on the schools, but I'm curious, are you still seeing issues or concerns or complaints from the other entities that you do supervise, the restaurants and the bars and so on, or are they getting under control pretty well? What's happening with that?
No, there's still issues. As we get further and further into this pandemic, people are getting tired. And so I want to go do something, or a business wants to go do something and get back to normal. And that's when we have problems. And so a person who's trying to follow the rules or follow and wants to get out then goes into a place where no masks are being worn or there's no social distancing, and we get a phone call. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. We have no treatment. We have no prevention measures such as a vaccine yet. And so we still need to be very diligent about what we do. We still have the issues in the community. We get calls on a regular basis for community organizations or business or an entity, and we try to go up there and pay a visit or remind the business what's going on, what needs to be followed. It's difficult at times because we are getting extremely tired of being in the pandemic.
Yeah, I think we're all. I get that. We're all feeling that way, and just at some point to say, I just want to get back to normal. But I think we probably are not going to be quote normal, maybe ever again, but not back to normal until we get a vaccine. But let's talk about the vaccine real quick for a minute or two, because first of all, we don't have one yet developed, although we're getting closer, I gather. But a vaccine will not be, we won't have a vaccine, and correct me if I'm wrong, we won't have a vaccine announced on Tuesday and the world will be better on Thursday. I mean, you have to, create the vaccine, distribute the vaccine, and have it take hold, right? So even when a vaccine arrives, it's not going to be an immediate panacea, or is it?
No, and you will not eradicate this. This is a viral disease, so eradication of a viral is very difficult. One round of vaccines to the general public will not eliminate this disease. It will always be here. It will always pop up. However, with the introduction of a vaccine and the vaccine schedule, because this may have be a vaccine with multiple doses, what you will do is decrease the disease in the community to the point where it's manageable. And if you have enough people getting vaccinated, you decrease the disease to the point where maybe this is only done so often, or it's done till the point we can manage it. You got to remember, a lot of our vaccine preventable diseases, from measles to polio to chickenpox, the virus is still out there, and it's not been eradicated. So you can pick it up, whether it's on travel or association, etc. But if you are vaccinated, you're then protected. So the vaccine, eventually, when it does come on, will protect us, but the virus itself will always be there. We've only eliminated one virus from the planet, and that took a huge effort and a long time. We were pretty close to polio, but we have a movement of anti-vaccinations, and it's difficult, or governments, or problems within a region because of conflict, and it's difficult to maintain or get to that level of eradication again. So when this vaccine does come out, it'll come out in a rolled effort. It'll be for priority groups. It'll then be mass vaccinations, and at some point it'll be in the physician's offices and pharmacies, where you can go get your vaccine, just like an MMR, chickenpox, and so on. But it'll be.
Howard, I'm literally out of time, but I want to ask you one quick question in conjunction with that. Like a flu shot and so on, is this something that we take the vaccine whenever it's developed and it'll solve this problem, but it comes back in a different form next year? Is that a possibility?
Possible, because it's a coronavirus. But this vaccine, we think, will be a 2-dose, and you'll get it so many days apart. The big question is, do I get a booster in 3 years? Or does the kids get a booster?
Howard, I wish I had more time, but I'm short. I got to run. The clock is telling me I got to go. Thanks for joining me this morning. Right. I appreciate it very much, as always. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
It's 9 o'clock, Watchdog Morning Show. We've got the Watchdogs coming up next. ABC News is already in progress.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Hitting Nevada.
All right, Biffy, have a good dog show. And I'll be in an hour. And if everything needs to be dealt with, let me know at that point. All right, I'll talk to you in a bit. See you in a bit. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Such a deal were to clear the House, obviously with a presidential signature promised, we would put it on the floor of the Senate and let the Senate consider it.
Says Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, but Republicans in the Senate say it's too expensive, and McConnell reportedly warning the White House not to advance a bill before Election Day. A new and alarming coronavirus count, the CDC finding nearly 300,000 more deaths and